I love you. Greetings and salutations, couch potatoes and baby potatoes. Hopefully baby potatoes, because,
babies.
We're hoping to grow potatoes with this episode.
Our little spuds, our little sprouts.
Our little spuds. Soon they will become potatoes and then french fries, and you will consume them.
Rum, 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 rum.
I am the Green Traveler from Gorsh.
And I am the Faceless Leone, the stretchiest experiment on Earth. And this is a podcast about movies and TV called Green and Faceless on the Couch. And, usually we do reviews on movies and and or TV, as my introduction would indicate. But we today are taking a step back and just talking about what we do, like a little trailer for people who are new, like when they come to the YouTube.
Yeah, we both we needed to fill a spot in the schedule. We both decided that it would be a good idea to have an episode where we can just point at people when they ask, "What's your podcast about?" And we can just be like, "Watch that."
Oh, yeah.
Obviously we can tell them it's, there's a simple answer, which is we're a podcast about movies and TV.
Right.
That's the simple answer.
So,
but there's a little bit more to it, like who we are, what the show's purpose is.
Right.
Explaining how we rate films. Yeah. That kind of stuff.
Yeah.
It's going to be a short and sweet episode.
That's right.
So, let's talk about who we are.
All right.
There's the real life story, which is I am a green alien from Gorsh.
That's right.
I crash landed on this planet way back in the 50s. Maybe you've heard about it. It's a big deal. Area 51 and all that fun stuff. Government worked on me for a while. We traded secrets. I'm banned from Gorsh, so I don't fucking care. Yeah. They can have all the info they want on Gorsh. Those fuckers don't want me anymore. That's its own episode. We'll do another episode 10 years in the future on that. But right now it's classified.
At some point, they were transferred to Area 52, where I was created, some would say by accident, but the guy's done it before, so... And anyhow... they just didn't really expect me to have much of a personality, but especially since I don't have a face.
You can mold one, though.
I can mold one, but, it's kind of like Ditto, what I mean? Yeah. So
cute and adorable?
Yeah. But we do have a pair of human suits that, just so we can earn a paycheck because,
Yeah. In the 90s, life. They released us. The government did all their fun experiments and everything. They were done with us. They gleaned all they had to. They decided sometimes the government's nice. Sometimes it doesn't kill what it's used up and is done with. But, sometimes they let it go free. They have little changes of hearts. It's nice. Well, it was a different administration.
I think it was more like budget cuts, at the time.
Yeah. Yeah, Clinton was just coming in, cutting all the budgets. Well, this was a little before Clinton, because you were 92, I was 93. I was one of his first decisions.
It was senior.
So, and it was, it was nice though. They gave us human suits. They gave us families. They told us to grow and prosper. In our human lives, I am a non-binary individual who grew up loving films, watching them with my father and my family too. But there were moments where I would just crawl into my dad's bed, because he worked third shift, so he would always sleep in the morning. Mm-hmm. And I would just go in there and we would start watching a movie. He would fall asleep within 10 minutes, but I would just watch the whole movie, and it felt like a nice bonding moment.
Yeah,
I love doing that. That was a lot of my childhood. So that's where my love of movies grew to. Then I went to college, where I studied film and TV and worked on some films, and it was a lot of fun. But now I just want to sit back and just watch them, because making films myself, it's a lot of stress.
Yeah, but I really want to get back in it. I'm on the opposite.
I do too. It was fun. Yeah, there are fun moments about it, but I feel like it'd be less stressful if I had a little more money.
Oh, definitely. We have a short film still in the making. Really, it's just postponed for a little bit on release, but it'll
Someday.
be out soon, someday in the near future. And it was written, directed by me under my human suit name, Blake Christ. I also have written and produced a podcast called The Adventures in Valgorn. You guys could check that out. That'd be really cool. It's only about 6 episodes long, but during the pandemic, we started hitting projects hard because we had nothing to do, right? That's where this came from.
Yeah.
And I wanted to do this fiction podcast. Still do. I have 7 scripts waiting. So, if you're interested in it, let me know.
We have a season 2 planned.
Yeah. So, here we are. You mentioned why you love movies and being with your dad. Movies was definitely a thing that I did with my mom. So, I grew up in a family that had split parents. And I'd been that way since I was 3. So, don't worry, I'm okay. But my dad was more like, hey, let's go outside, let's do things, which I appreciated. But my mom was, hey, let's sit back and watch this movie together and have fun. And, cackle at comedies that were probably too mature for me, but that's okay. So, yeah, here we are doing a show about our show, and that's a little strange to me, but I dig it so far.
Yeah, and I like I do want to say too that it I don't want to leave my mom out because I love my mom just as much as I love my dad. But I more watch TV shows with her.
Right.
Yeah, she's such a huge fan of the show. I appreciate that a lot. Yeah, I watch more television with her as opposed to we all watch movies together.
Yeah.
But like Star Wars, Indiana Jones, those were films that I watched when it was like, my dad was falling asleep next to me, and it's just like, yeah.
My dad introduced me to Star Wars too. That he was like, this kid's gonna like Star Wars. And my
dad introduced me to Star Wars 4. Sorry. I had to.
Well, when he introduced me to Star Wars, the new movies were still a couple years out, but they were in talks. So I think he wanted to show me so that we were ready. And,
damn, you got in there early.
Yeah.
You were young. I didn't watch them until after the Phantom Menace was out. I believe Attack of the Clones was just about to be in theaters when we watched them.
Okay. See, I believe it was my 7th birthday that we went to go see The Phantom Menace.
Yeah, that was 99. Yeah. 99 was The Phantom Menace. I think 2001 was Attack of the Clones. So I think I watched it a year after you, but they released me from the government facility a year after you.
Yeah.
So I'm technically a year younger.
In the books, yes. Yeah.
Yeah, in the books, yeah.
But
I'm actually way older technically, but
I always been a nerd, true and true. Like, this is definitely a nerd podcast. Don't be mistaken. We just have a broad stroke of our nerdisms. I always was a nerd, but I was also an athlete. And, I don't think I truly became a couch potato until late high school. And
that's fair.
Yeah. And,
I've always been a couch potato.
You've always been a couch potato. I was worried about it because, my dad especially really put a stigma on it. It's like, you should be up and working as a man. This is what I love. And it's great that we are doing something together, mind you. We met in undergrad, by the way. And
we met at Area 52. But
we met at Area 52, but we re-met at undergrad.
Yeah.
We just
it was actually by a surprise too. We both just happened to go to the same college. I was like,
that's right.
You.
Yeah, and it's funny because the guy that we modeled our human suits after was there too, and they thought we were brothers. It was strange.
It was pretty rough.
Yeah.
Weird. that's who we are.
That is who we
the
are.
purpose of this show. That was Act 2 of this
Okay.
real quick episode.
Okay.
My goal out of it was to just talk.
Yeah.
Because that's literally all. Like, before this, for I can't remember how many years, maybe it was 5 to 10 years, I did a movie blog where I would see a movie. I go to the theaters pretty much every week.
Right.
The pandemic hit me, and it really fucked up my whole mindset because
Sure.
I literally would look forward to the weekend or to after work or whatever just so I can go to the theater and catch a new movie.
Yeah, I loved movies.
And I don't know
too.
why. I don't know why I love the theater so much, because it's just like, the seats are gross. Like, at least our theater, seats are gross. Quality's not always the greatest. People are disgusting. I can't stand people at movie theaters, but that's the weird thing. At the same time, I can't stand it, but I love being around it.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the film, I like looking around and seeing what everybody else is, how they're reacting.
How they
I like
enjoyed
seeing
it.
people who are upset, if they're laughing, how they're talking with everybody, like and hearing their own conversations too. I like hearing what people thought of the film. But at the same time, I'm a lurker. I don't get involved in the conversation. I just like to hear it because I'm creepy like that. But that was my purpose out of the show, is that I like to talk. I like hearing myself talk, and I love movies. And I know that there's a lot of people out there who get a kick out of hearing people gush about things they love.
Mhm.
And that's what I wanted to do, was just fucking gush about things I love or hate. But,
Right.
that happens too.
I loved the theater growing up as well. It was another thing that me and my mom loved to do. And I remember saying one time that it was like my fourth home. And that's because I had two homes growing up, and I considered the church my third.
It's so pious of you.
Yeah, I was a very, very pious little boy. Yeah.
I was, until I read the Bible. I'm a critic, and I read the Bible and had so many problems with it.
Too many plot
From a critic
holes
standpoint.
in the Bible.
Yeah, too many plot holes, way too many questions being asked that, like, no answers being given. And I'm like, I was told to come here for the answer, damn it! There are no answers!
Excuse me. So we are pretty skeptical as well. That's okay, but I also am very much a believer that people have the right to their faith. So, we try to keep it nice.
PG.
Yeah.
Yeah, we try not to offend. That's rule number one. We try not to offend.
Fuck off a lot for PG.
Okay, that's fair. People, yeah, yeah. I just mean, like, we try very hard to, because we both know we're ignorant individuals. Our human suits are white-skinned.
That's true.
So, we both understand that we're ignorant. We understand that we can be racist.
We have some
can
privilege.
Be offensive
As well.
Yeah, we have lots of privilege,
that.
Sadly.
Yeah.
And so we're both trying to be very aware and not offensive to people.
Right.
However, said, we do get names wrong a lot.
We do get names wrong a lot, and we're really bad about that. That is very true.
Really bad about that.
But at the same time, we are very eager to expose people of color in media. We're very we very much want to support that and watch it ourselves as people who are both empathetic and curious about the different lifestyles of the people we live among, and I look forward to seeing more great stuff, and that's what the show is all about. We pit against, we have different segments that we do. We pit against genres or sequels, sometimes a trilogy, or sometimes originally we started off talking about 3 different movies that kind of loosely themed together.
Yeah.
And we still do that.
We called them threesomes.
Threesomes, yes. And in fact, when I told my mom about this and she saw the title of our first episode, which is A Threesome, Zaz, she said, "Is this a sex thing?" So,
That was where I
maybe
got-
mistakes
That
were
was
made.
my intention. No, I totally wanted people to think that because my first thought was that'll get people to listen because they'll think it's sexy.
No.
And then they'll just hear two gross, masculine leaning voices and be like, "Oh God, is this going to get sexy?"
I don't think
because
my voice is gross, so thanks. And you can comment if you disagree or agree.
No, that's true. Gross was a mispronunciation. I was trying to stall for time to figure out. Yeah, non-binary. I was trying to think of a way to say masculine leaning.
I got you. Yes. No, I like that.
My brain
part,
don't work too
but
good.
you said gross
Yeah.
instead, so.
Yeah,
thanks.
that was my pause because I've been trying not to do like and likes and
yeah.
that kind of stuff.
I just
So I paused by throwing in needless adjectives.
yeah. I kind of have a stammer, so I have to include them.
Yeah, no, I really have a stammer. That's the big problem. Is just like anybody who listens to the show knows that I seem very similar to Rick and Morty. That kind of speech pattern where I stammer like a whole lot over one thing, and it's like I can't even think of an example, but it's just like where you're just stuck on a word, and it's just like, what's the next word that I'm trying to say?
Yes.
Like my brain just gets ahead of itself, or no, my mouth gets ahead of the brain. Really,
I
is what it is.
definitely have the problem where I know a word when I start a sentence and it's gone by the time I get to it. That happens to me all the time. So
I'm like looking at the full sentence in my head, and the words are like dropping down to my mouth, and then it's just like one just starts dangling, and it's just like, no, fall.
you're
fall,
like
damn
jumping to get it.
Come on. I need the next word, please.
So you can tell that we go on a lot of tangents, and
I don't know what you're talking about.
we also
We both have ADHD.
We do, most definitely. But we also have a Patreon account at patreon.com/greenandfaceless. So if this is a show that you're interested in supporting, we'd love to see you there. Of course, if this is what you're just checking out, we urge you to go check out more of our stuff. And you can find that anywhere there's podcasts or on YouTube. And with the Patreon account, we have two major benefits. There are some merch benefits as well, but the first and foremost thing is that once a month we have a potato pick, which is a patron inspired episode. So now how that works is patrons of a certain tier, I think it's a certain tier,
I think the
$5 tier,
above,
they get to suggest the topic for that episode, that monthly episode, and then all those suggestions get voted upon. So on Facebook,
by the public.
Well, the poll is on our Patreon account, but it's also on YouTube, so you can check it out there. But we'd love to see you down at the Patreon account. You could comment there or on YouTube or anywhere you can. Leave a review. We'd love that. Even if it's bad, because we'd like to know if we should keep on doing this.
Well, yeah, like even if it's bad, I mean, just make it constructive. Tell us how we can,
make us
improve.
better for sure. So, nextly,
make Green and Faceless better again.
The next thing that we have on the Patreon account that is, what would that be?
Megafaba. Magafba. I think it'd be Magafba.
Magafba. Okay, well, that's stupid. So, the other Patreon thing we have is an exclusive show that is on Patreon. I believe that's also at the $5 amount. I think so.
$2.
At the $2 amount as well, you get to watch Bangers and Hash, which is us just catching up on the things that we've watched separately. And
we're still fine tuning that show.
I think it's good though. I think the concept is good. Yeah, we need to mold it a little bit, but it took us a long time to really figure out this show, and I don't know that we have yet.
Right? No, we definitely haven't. I mean, mostly what we do is like we'll do a silly opener, and then we'll bisect the synopsis. as trying not to spoil things unless we just don't think you should absolutely watch it at all.
That's right. Bad movies but sometimes we do spoiler walls. We haven't done that in a while, but
we haven't done that in a while, mainly because we're lazy editors. Let's be honest.
That's part of it.
I'm a lazy editor.
That's part of it, but also we haven't really watched something where we absolutely had to talk about like an excitement level of like, hey, I want to talk about this thing. If
you were to watch Beau is Afraid,
right,
then I would have to have put up a spoiler wall for certain things. For the whole
episode. No.
I mean, almost. But no, there's one thing in particular that just needs to be discussed, but I don't want it to be spoiled because it's being in the movie is fucking hilarious and just like you're not expecting it at all. And when it happens, you're just like, oh my fucking God.
I do really want to see this movie because we're a fan of the director.
I do recommend it.
And so I think that's probably what else.
Well,
we got?
I was gonna say after the synopsis, then we would go through our pros and cons, and then we would end by giving a rating. And that's the
that's right.
That's the
how
third
episode
the third
structure.
and final
I see
act
what
here.
You're saying. Okay.
Yeah.
Our episode structure is we synopsize, criticize, and then raticize.
Raticize. And let's explain our ratings real quick. I base my ratings on Roger Ebert's scale of 4 stars.
Very logical.
I grew up reading his reviews. I loved his reviews. They were hilarious. And that's, when I started doing my blog, that's who I was mostly inspired by was his reviews and his, look into films. Like, because when I say I studied film and everything, I didn't go deep into analyses and like metaphors and all that stuff. I'm not smart like that.
Right.
I love reading those discussions, but I feel like most of my watching of a movie is more intuitive as opposed to like, dissecting it. I mean, I do dissect the film as I'm watching it, but it's more of like how I'm feeling about it. Mm-hmm. And then I dissect it afterwards. But yeah, the 4-star scale is basically, 1 star and below is trash.
Right.
2 star, 2.5, that's okay. It's competent. 2.5 makes it a little better. Yeah, exactly. 3 stars where you get to good. 3.5 is absolutely great, and 4 is perfection. I would love to continue to watch this over and over again, and that's the most important part.
Right.
Is I want to a 4-star movie begs to be rewatched by me.
Right.
I'm not going to give a 4-star to every movie that is great. I'm going to give the 4-star to it was great, and I can't wait to watch it again.
Nice.
So
nice.
Yeah.
So my system is a little bit more some would say out there, and it's on a scale unique. Yes, it's on a scale from half a face to 2 faces. So it's pretty easy for a movie to get a face. It just has to be a movie, a competent movie. So that's where most movies are gonna land. However, if it's a face and a half... No, I'm sorry. I said 2 faces. There hasn't been a 2-face movie yet. To further confuse you. There hasn't been a 2-face movie yet, but I'm sure it's out there. A face and a half...
Yeah, but who would they cast? Would it be a Tommy Lee Jones 2-face, or would it be Aaron Eckhart?
You hurt my brain. Okay, so a face and a half. It's like 4 stars for The Green Traveler, except for if I will include something that I think is great. Not even if I don't think I'll watch it over and over again. Like there's a lot of sad movies that get a face and a half because I do love tragedy, but I don't want to be exposed to the same tragic moments.
I love tragedy. I would watch tragedy over and over again and have.
Yeah, I have as well. There's some of them. There's a couple of tragedies that are just like, yeah, they're just my favorite movies.
I love crying, man.
Do I love crying? I don't know.
I said I love it though.
You do? Okay. Well, I'm open to it. A half a face, I think, is very clear that is a shit movie. That's where that lands. There hasn't been a no-face movie yet.
Which is good.
But there could be.
There's out there. I'm sure if you were to watch like one of the films on Best of the Worst, Red Letter Media's Best of the Worst, I feel like if we were to watch some of those trash things, you would probably be like zero face.
Yeah, I'm sure they're out there. We don't really focus on B movies. We have done some things in the past. But if you want us to watch B movies, then come on down to the Patreon and make us do it.
Yeah.
The internet is trolls. They will vote for it.
Yeah. Agreed. Yeah.
Well, that's
another thing is like, in the future, like going forward, we just hope to improve the channel, and we need your feedback for that. We need to hear what works, what doesn't work. So, just let us know. Reach out to comments, email, however the fuck you need to get a hold of us. If you're our friends, just talk to us, please. We're begging you, just talk to us again. I'm so sorry.
They're not talking to us now? I didn't notice.
You're like, I've just been living in a world of silence forever.
All right.
This is normal.
Yeah. That's our show, I guess.
It's our show. It is.
What do you rate this episode?
I would probably give this episode a 3. It's competent. It's good. I'm not going to re-listen to it that much.
It's a face. Yeah, I give it a face. There's not much substance here. It's more of an introduction, and that's fine. Here's a prologue.
Pretty fucking stupid at
that
times.
Came like in the middle of the book. That is the career of our podcast.
It's true. It really is true.
We hope you enjoyed it.
And then we sign out. That's how we do it. I am the Green Traveler from Gordon.
And I am the Faceless Leon. Thank you so much for listening. Safe travels and good night. Green and Faceless on the Couch is a proud production of FictionWorks 19. Are you a fan of the show? Feel free to contact us at greenandfacelessfans@gmail.com or visit our Patreon page at patreon.com/greenandfaceless. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe, or rate us on Apple Podcasts. Thank you so much for listening.